Welcome back to Slow Night Sleepy Stories. Last night, we shared the earnest prayer of King Taejong Muyol, who dreamed of peaceful unification. Tonight, we guide you to the story of King Munmu, the great ruler who turned that dream into reality. When I die, bury me on a great rock in the East Sea, not in a fancy tomb. I will become a dragon even after death to protect this land. A noble vow of a king who wished to transcend death and become the guardian of the sea. His deep love, capable of calming even the roughest waves, will lead you to the safest and most peaceful world of dreams tonight. Listen to the legend of the great King's Rock and the final words of King Munmu recorded in Volume 6 of the Samguk Sagi, and find peace in your heart. To help you fall into a deep sleep, the screen will slowly dim and fade away, becoming faint like the deep ocean. Now, close your eyes comfortably and listen, as if you are resting in the embrace of the vast East Sea. King Munmu. King Munmu ascended the throne. His name was Beopman, and he was the eldest son of King Taejong Muyol. His mother was Queen Munmyeong of the Kim clan, the youngest daughter of Sopan Seohyun and the younger sister of Yusin. Her elder sister dreamed that she climbed to the top of Seohyung-san and urinated, flooding the whole country. She woke up and told the dream to her younger sister. The younger sister jokingly said, "I wish to buy this dream from you, sister," and gave a silk skirt as payment. A few days later, while Yusin was playing kickball with Lord Chunchu, King Jongmuyol, he stepped on Chunchu's clothes and tore a ribbon. Yusin said, "Fortunately, my house is nearby, so please come and let us mend it." They went to the house together, where Yusin set out wine and casually called for Bohui, the elder sister, to bring a needle and thread to sew it. The elder sister had a reason not to come out, so the younger sister came forward to sew. She wore light makeup and light clothes, and her radiant beauty shone upon people. Chunchu saw her and was pleased. He asked for her hand in marriage and performed the ceremony, and she soon became pregnant and gave birth to a son, who was Beopman. The queen was Queen Jawi, the daughter of Pajinchen Seonpum. Beopman had a heroic and extraordinary appearance, was intelligent, and possessed much wisdom and strategy. In the early Yonghui era, he went to Tang, where Emperor Gaozong appointed him Daifu King, chief minister of the court of imperial treasury. In the first year of King Taejong, he became Byongboryong, minister of war, as a Pajinchen, and was soon invested as crown prince. In the 5th year of Xianqing, when King Taejong and the Tang general Su Dingfang pacified Baekje, Beopman followed him and achieved great merit. At this time, he ascended the throne. Year 1, 661. In the 6th month of the first year, Inmun and Yudon, who had been serving as royal guards in Tang, arrived and reported to the king. The emperor has already dispatched Su Dingfang to lead soldiers from 35 routes by land and water to attack Goguryeo, and has commanded the king to raise troops to respond. Although you are in mourning, it is difficult to disobey the emperor's command. On the 17th day of autumn, the 7th month, Kim Yusin was appointed great general. Inmun, Jinju, and Humdal became great banner generals. Cheonjan, Jukji, and Cheonpum became Guidang generals. Pumul, Cheongsang, and Weibok became Sangju commanders. Jinhum, Jungsan, and Jagan became Haju commanders. Gungwan, Susei, and Gosun became Namcheonju commanders. Sulsil, Dalguan, and Munyong became Suyakju commanders. Munhun and Jinsun became Haseoju commanders. Jinbok became Seodang commander. Weiguang became Nangdang commander, and Weiji became Gegum Dagum. In the 8th month, the great king led the generals and stayed at Sigok. A messenger came and reported, "Remaining thieves of Baekje have occupied Ongsan fortress and are blocking the road, so we cannot advance." The great king first sent a messenger to persuade them, but they did not submit. On the 19th day of the 9th month, the great king advanced and stopped at Ungyeonjong, gathered the commanders and Daegam, and personally administered an oath. On the 25th, the army advanced and besieged Ongsan fortress. On the 27th, they first burned the large palisade and killed several thousand people, finally causing them to surrender. Discussing merits, Gakgan and Ichan, who served as commanders, were granted swords. Yongchan, Pajinchan, and Daechan, who served as commanders, were granted spears, and those below were each promoted 1 rank. Ungyan Fortress was built. Sangju Commander Pumul, along with Ilmosan Gun Governor Daedang and Sasisan Gun Governor Chelchan, led troops to attack Usul fortress and cut off 1,000 heads. Baekje Dalsol Jobak and Yunsol Paga plotted with the multitude to surrender. Jobak was granted the rank of Gupchan and appointed governor of Gotayagun. Paga was granted Gupchan and also given fields, a house, and clothing. On the 29th day of winter, the 10th month, the great king heard that the Tang emperor's envoy had arrived and returned to the capital. The Tang envoy offered condolences and comfort, and by imperial order sacrificed to the former king, gifting 500 bolts of various colored silks. Yusin and others rested their troops and awaited further orders. Hamjado commander Lu Demin arrived to convey an imperial decree to transport military provisions to Pyongyang. Year 2. In the first month of spring, the second year, the Tang envoy was at the guest house. At this time, he invested the king as opener of the Kaisan, equal to the 3 divisions, pillar of state, king of Lilang Commandery, king of Silla. King Munmu was appointed Zhengshi, prime minister. The king ordered Yusin and 9 generals, including Inmun and Yangdo, to transport 4,000 sok of rice and 22,000 sok of unhulled rice to Pyongyang using over 2,000 carts. On the 18th, they slept at Pungsu village. The ice was slippery and the roads were treacherous, so carts could not move, so the load was carried by oxen and horses. On the 23rd, they crossed Chiljung River and reached Sanyang. Guidong Jegum Songcheon and military master Solcheon encountered enemy soldiers at Icheon and struck and killed them. On the first day of the second month, Yusin and others arrived at Jiangse, which was 36,000 paces from Pyongyang. They first sent infantry and cavalry supervisor Yolgi and 15 others to the Tang camp. On this day there was a snowstorm and it was freezing cold. Many people and horses froze to death. On the 6th, they arrived at Yango. Yusin sent Achen Yangdo and Daewangam Inseon to deliver the military provisions and presented Dingfang with 5,700 bun of silver, 30 bolts of fine hemp cloth, 30 yang of hair, and 19 yang of ox bezoar. Dingfang received the provisions and immediately ceased the campaign and returned. Hearing that the Tang soldiers had returned, Yusin and the others also returned and crossed the Gwacheon. Goguryeo soldiers pursued them. They turned the army around to fight, cutting off over 10,000 heads, capturing minor brother Adalhai and others, and obtaining tens of thousands of weapons. Discussing merits, the treasures, farms, and slaves of Bonpi Palace were divided in half and given to Yusin and Inmun. There was a fire at Yeongmyosa Temple. The Lord of Tamna, Jwapyeong Dodong Umryul, or Jin, came to surrender. Since the Wuda era, Tamna had been a subject of Baekje and thus used Jwapyeong as an official title. At this point, they surrendered and became a subject state. In the 3rd month, a great amnesty was granted. Since Baekje had been pacified, the king ordered the relevant office to hold a great drinking feast. In autumn, the 7th month, Ichan Kim Inmun was sent to Tang to offer local products. In the 8th month, remnant thieves of Baekje gathered at Nasaji fortress and committed evil acts. 19 generals, including Humsun, were sent to attack and defeat them. Daedang commander Jinju and Namcheonju commander Jinhyum feigned illness to stay idle and did not care for state affairs, so they were executed and their families exterminated. Sachan Yodong struck his mother. Thunder and rain fell, and he was struck dead by lightning. 3 characters Sudang were written on his body. Namcheonju presented a white magpie. Year 3, 663. In the 1st month of spring, the 3rd year, a long storehouse was built at Namsan New Fortress. Busan Fortress was built. In the 2nd month, Homsun and Cheonjeon led troops to attack and capture Gyeoryol Fortress of Baekji, cutting off over 700 heads. They also attacked Jeomol Fortress and Sapyeong Fortress and made them surrender. They also attacked Daewangam Fortress and cut off 1,070 heads. In summer, the 4th month, Great Tang designated our country as the Gyerim Grand Area Command and made the king the Gyerim-ju Grand Area Commander. In the 5th month, lightning struck the gate of Yeongmyosa Temple. The former general of Baekje, Boksin, and the monk Dochim welcomed the former prince Buyeo Peng and set him up as king, besieging the garrison commander Lu Renyuan at Ungjin Fortress. The Tang emperor ordered Rengui to inspect the Daifang prefecture governor, lead the multitude of the former governor Wang Wendu, and head toward the Baekje camp with our soldiers. They fought and broke through the lines, and no one could stand before them. Boksin and the others lifted the siege on Renyuan and retreated to defend Imjan fortress. Shortly after, Boksin killed Dochim and annexed his followers, calling back those who had rebelled and fled. His power became very great. Rengui joined forces with Renyuan, unarmored the soldiers to let them rest, and requested reinforcements. An edict sent Right Guard General Sun Renshi leading 400,000 soldiers. They arrived at Daewangam Island and proceeded to Ungjin Prefecture Fortress. The king led 28 or 30 generals, including Kim Yusin, to join them and attacked Durungyun or Yangyun Fortress, Juryu Fortress, and other fortresses, capturing all of them. Buyopeng escaped, and Prince Chungsung, Chungji, and others led their followers to surrender. Only Jisusin held out at Imjan Fortress and did not surrender. From the 21st day of winter, the 10th month, they attacked it but could not overcome it. By the 4th day of the 11th month, the army withdrew to Seoul or Hu-Rijong to discuss merits and give rewards differentially. A great amnesty was granted, and clothes were made and given to the Tang soldiers remaining at the garrison. Year 4, 664. In the first month of spring, the 4th year, Kim Yusin requested to retire due to old age, but it was not permitted. He was granted a stool and a walking staff. Achen Gungwan was made governor of Hansan-ju. An order was issued. Women are also to wear the clothes of the central court, China. In the 2nd month, the relevant office was ordered to move commoners to the parks of the various royal tombs, 20 households to each. Gakgen Kim Inmun and Ichan Cheonjan made an alliance with Tang envoy Lu Renyuan and Baekje's Buyo Young at Ungjin. In the 3rd month, the remnant multitude of Baekje occupied Sabi Mountain Fortress and rebelled. The Ungjin governor dispatched troops to attack and defeat them. There was an earthquake. 38 people, including Songchun and Gil, were sent to the prefecture fortress to learn Tang music. In autumn, the 7th month, the king ordered generals Inmun, Pumel, Gungwan, Munyong, and others to lead soldiers from Ilseon and Hansan provinces, and the soldiers and horses of the prefecture fortress to attack Dolsa fortress of Goguryeo and destroy it. On the 14th day of the 8th month, there was an earthquake that destroyed commoners' houses. It was worse in the south. People were forbidden from arbitrarily donating wealth and land to Buddhist temples. Year 5. In the 2nd month of spring, the 5th year, Jungsi Munhun retired, and Ichan Jinbok became Jungsi. Ichan Munwang died and was buried with the rights of a prince. The Tang emperor sent an envoy to offer condolences and also presented a set of purple clothes, a belt, 100 bolts of patterned silk, and 200 bolts of raw silk. The king gave the Tang envoy very generous gifts of gold and silk. In autumn, the 8th month, the king swore an oath with envoy Lu Renyuan and Ungjin governor Buyo Young at Churisan in Ungjin. Initially, since Buyo Jang, King Weija, Baekje had allied with Goguryeo and frequently invaded our borders. Our envoys going to court to ask for help were visible to one another on the road. After Su Dingfang pacified Baekje and the army returned, the remaining multitude rebelled again. The king, along with garrison envoys Lu Renyuan and Lu Rengui, managed it for several years and gradually pacified it. Gaozong issued an edict for Buyo Young to return and soothe the remaining multitude and ordered him to make peace with us. At this time, a white horse was sacrificed to make the alliance. First, the spirits of heaven and earth and the gods of rivers and valleys were worshipped, and then blood was smeared on the mouth. The text of the alliance said, "In the past, the former king of Baekje was confused about rebellion and obedience, did not keep good relations with neighbors, was not harmonious with relatives, colluded with Goguryeo, communicated with the Wa, Japan, and together committed cruelty, invading and whittling away Silla, plundering towns and slaughtering cities, so that there was scarcely a peaceful year. The Son of Heaven, pitying the loss of a single thing and sympathizing with the innocence of the people, frequently commanded envoys to be sent to bring about reconciliation. Relying on treacherous terrain and distance, they despised the heavenly laws. The emperor was vastly angry and reverently carried out a punitive expedition. Where the banners pointed, all was settled in one battle. Indeed, the palaces could be turned into ponds and the houses defiled to serve as a warning to future generations, blocking the source and pulling up the root to hand down a lesson to descendants. However, cherishing the yielding and striking the rebellious is the good code of former kings, and reviving the ruined and continuing the severed is the common rule of past sages. Affairs must model antiquity. It is transmitted in the ancient books. Therefore, we establish the former Baekje Dasajajeongyong as Ungjin governor to maintain his ancestral sacrifices, preserve his homeland, rely on Silla, and be a friendly country forever, each removing old grudges, concluding friendship and harmonizing, each receiving the imperial decree to be vassal states forever. Thus, we send envoy Right Guard General Duke of Loseong County Lu Renyuan to personally approach to persuade and fully proclaim the imperial will. Binding with marriage, extending with an oath, sacrificing a victim, and smearing blood, to be mutually sincere from beginning to end, sharing disasters and pitying suffering, with grace like brothers, reverently receiving the silken sounds, imperial words, and daring not to let them fall. After swearing, we shall protect it together in the cold of the year. If the alliance is broken, or virtue is inconsistent, raising troops and moving multitudes to invade the borders, the bright spirits will examine it and send down 100 calamities. Descendants will not be reared, the altars of soil and grain will not be kept, sacrifices will be obliterated, and nothing will remain. Therefore, a gold text and iron tally are made and stored in the ancestral temple. Descendants for 10,000 generations shall not dare to violate it. Spirits, hear this, partake and bless. This was the speech of Lu Rengui. After smearing the blood, the victim and silk were buried in the direction of the altar, and the writing woe, stored in our ancestral temple. Thereupon, Rengui led our envoy and the envoys of the 4 countries of Baekje, Tamna, and Wa, floated across the sea, and returned west to attend the sacrifice at Mount Tai. Prince Jeongmyeong was established as crown prince, and a great amnesty was granted. In winter, people from the 2 provinces of Ilseon and Gyeoryol transported military supplies to Haseoju. Formerly, tem of silk and cloth made 1 bolt pill, but it was changed so that 7 bo in length and tuk in width made 1 bolt. Year 6. In the 2nd month of spring, the 6th year, there was an earthquake in the capital. In summer, the 4th month, there was a fire at Yeongmyosa Temple. A great amnesty was granted. Cheonjeon's son Halim and Yusin's son Samgwang both entered Tang as Nema to serve as royal guards. Having pacified Baekje, the king desired to destroy Goguryeo and requested troops from Tang. In winter, the 12th month, Tang appointed Li Ji as the Grand Chief Commander of the Liaodong March, with Siliol Sosangbek, An Lu, and Hao Chujun as deputies to attack Goguryeo. The noble minister of Goguryeo, Yeon Jongto, came to surrender with 12 fortresses, 763 households, and 3,543 people. Jongto and his 24 subordinate officials were given clothes, food, and houses, and settled in the royal capital and provinces and prefectures. The 12 fortresses were intact, so soldiers were sent to guard them. Year 7, 667. In autumn, the 7th month, the 7th year, a great drinking feast was held for 3 days. The Tang Emperor ordered Jigyong and Gaewon to be generals and go to the campaign in Liaodong. The king immediately made Jigyong a Pajinchen and Gaewon a Daechen. Also, the emperor ordered Daechen Ilwon to be general of the Cloud Banner, Yunhui. The king ordered him to receive the command in the palace courtyard. Daenema Jaepangs was sent to Tang to pay tribute. Gaozong ordered Lu Renyuan and Kim Inte to follow the Beol route, and also levied our troops to follow the Dagok and Hagok routes to meet at Pyongyang. In autumn, the 8th month, the king led 30 generals including Great Gak Kim Yusin and left the capital. In the 9th month, they arrived at Hansongjong and waited for Yingong, Li Ji. On the 2nd day of winter, the 10th month, Yingong arrived 200 li north of Pyongyang Fortress and sent Idongye village head Daenema Gangsim leading over 80 Khitan cavalry. They passed Ajinham Fortress and reached Hanseong, delivering a letter to urge the military date, and the great king followed it. On the 11th day of the 11th month, they reached Jiangse and heard that Yingong had returned. The king's army also returned. Gangsim was granted the rank of Gopchan and given 500 sak of millet. In the 12th month, Jungshi Munhun died. Tang Garrison General Liu Renyuan conveyed the Son of Heaven's command to assist in the conquest of Goguryeo and bestowed upon the king the tally of a great general. Year 8, 668. In spring, the 8th year, Amma came to submit. Wanggi and Zhongto were sent to Tang. Zhongto stayed and did not return, while Wanggi returned. There was an imperial order forbidding the presentation of women from this time forward. In the 3rd month, Pajinchan Jigyong was made Jungsi. Biol Holju was established, and Pajinchan Yongmun was made its commander. In summer, the 4th month, a comet guarded the Cheonseong constellation. On the 12th day of the 6th month, Liu Rengui, the vice ambassador for Liaodong pacification, vice grand commander of the Liaodong March, concurrently ambassador for Unjin pacification, marching commander, right minister, inspecting crown prince's left inner guard, pillar of state and founding baron of Naxiang County, received the emperor's decree and arrived at Donghangjin with the royal guard Sachen Kim Samguang. The king sent Gakken Kim Inmun to welcome him with great ceremony. Thereupon, the right minister finished the engagement and headed for Cheonggang. On the 21st, Great Gakken Kim Yusen was made Grand Commander of the Great Banner. Gakken Kim Inmun, Homsun, Cheonjan, Munchung, Yongchan Jinbok, Pajinchan Jigyong, Daechan Yangdo, Gaewon, and Humdal were made commanders of the Great Banner. Ichan Jinsen, or Chun, and Jukji were made Gyeongjeong commanders. Ichan Pumul, Yongchan Munhun, and Daechan Cheonpum were made Guidong commanders. Ichan Inte was made Biol Rout commander. Yongchan Gungwan, Daechan Doyu, and Achan Yongjang were made Hansong-ju marching commanders. Yongchan Sungsin, Daechan Munyong, and Achan Box were made Biol Songju marching commanders. Pajinchan Sungwang, Achan Jangsan, and Sunjang were made Haseo-ju marching commanders. Pajinchan Wibok and Achan Chongwang were made Seodang commanders, and Achan Ilwon and Hungwon were made Gegamdang commanders. On the 22nd, Liu Renyuan of the prefecture fortress sent noble gracious Mihil to report that 12 fortresses in 2 commanderies of Goguryeo, including Daegok Fortress and Hansong, had surrendered. The king sent Ilgilchan Jingong to offer congratulations. Inmun, Cheonjan, Doyu, and others led the soldiers and horses of 7 commanderies, including Ilseongju and Hanseongju, to the Tang military camp. On the 27th, the king departed the capital to go to the Tang soldiers. On the 29th, the commanders of the various routes set out. The king had Yusen stay in the capital as he was suffering from wind sickness. Inmun and the others met Yingong and advanced the army to the foot of Yongnu Mountain. Yongnu Mountain is 20 li north of the present Sogyong, Pyongyang. On the 16th day of autumn, the 7th month, the king stayed at Hanseongju and ordered the various commanders to go meet the Grand Army. Munyeong and others encountered Goguryeo soldiers at the plain of Sacheon and fought and greatly defeated them. On the 21st day of the 9th month, they joined with the Grand Army to besiege Pyongyang. The Goguryeo king first sent Namsan and others to Yingong to request surrender. Thereupon, Yingong took King Bojong, Princes Boknam and Daeoknam, and ministers totaling over 200,000 people and returned to Tang. Gakken Kim Inmun and Daechan Joju followed Yingong back, and Inte, Wibok, Suse, Cheongwang, and Hongwon accompanied them. Initially, when the Grand Army was pacifying Goguryeo, the king departed Hanseong pointing toward Pyongyang and reached Hilchayang, but hearing that the Tang generals had already returned, he returned to Hanseong. On the 22nd day of winter, the 10th month, Yusen was granted the rank of Great Tae Gakken. Inmun was granted Great Gakken, and other Ichans and generals were all made Gakkon. Those below Sopan were all increased by 1 rank. Daedang Sogam Bondok had the first merit in the Sacheon battle. Hansenju Sogam Park Gyeongan killed the Gunju Soltol inside Pyongyang Fortress, holding the first merit. Hokak Governor Songuk had the first merit in the battle at the main gate of Pyongyang Fortress. They were all granted the rank of Ilgilchan and given 1,000 sok of unhulled rice. Seodang Banner Chief Kim Dun-san had the first merit in the battle at the Pyongyang military camp and was granted Sachen and 700 sok of rice. Military Master Bukjio of Nam Hansen had the first merit in the battle at the north gate of Pyongyang Fortress and was granted Sulgan and 1,000 sok of millet. Military masters Buyang and Gugi had the first merit in the battle at the South Bridge of Pyongyang and were granted solgan and 700 of millet. Temporary military master Sewol of Beolhol had the first merit in the battle at the small fortress of Pyongyang and was granted gogan and 500 sok of millet. Hansanju Sogum Kim Songgyong died in battle at Sacheon, holding the first merit. He was posthumously granted Ilgilchan and 1,000 of unhulled rice. Asul Sachen Gwail crossed the water under the bridge in the Battle of Sacheon and fought the enemy to a great Tory, but because he had no military order and entered a dangerous path on his own, his merit was not recorded, although it was first. He was resentful and tried to hang himself, but people nearby saved him and he did not die. On the 25th, the king returned to the country and stayed at Yokdol Station. Gukwan official Daechan Yongjang privately set up a feast to entertain the king and his attendants. When the music began, Nongan, the son of Nema Ginju, aged 15, presented a Gaya dance. The king saw his appearance was correct and beautiful, called him forward to stroke his back, offered him wine in a gold cup, and gave him very generous gifts of silk. On the 5th day of the 11th month, the king entered the capital with 7,000 captured Goguryeo people. On the 6th, he led the civil and military officials to pay respects at the ancestral temple, reporting, "Reverently receiving the ancestors' will, we raised righteous troops with great tang to punish the crimes of Baekje and Goguryeo. The arch-villains have submitted to their crimes, and the nation's steps are peaceful and quiet, so we dare to report this. Spirits, hear this." On the 18th, goods were bestowed upon those who died in service. Those above Sogum received 10+ bolts, and followers received 20 bolts. In the 12th month, there was a fire at Yeongmyosa Temple. Year 9. In the first month of spring, the 9th year, Dharma Master Sinye was made Zhongguan Daeseoseong. Tang Monk Fan came to convey the Son of Heaven's command seeking magnets. On the 21st day of the 2nd month, the great king gathered the officials and issued an instruction. In the past, Silla was separated between two countries, attacked from the north and invaded from the west without a moment of peace. Warriors' bones were exposed in the wild fields, and bodies and heads were separated at the borders. The former king, pitying the cruel harm to the people, forgot the preciousness of 1,000 chariots, kingship, crossed the sea to pay court, and requested troops from the Crimson Palace, originally intending to pacify the two countries to end war forever, avenge the deep grudges of generations, and preserve the remaining lives of the people. Although Baekje was pacified, Goguryeo was not destroyed. I inherited the legacy of pacification and finally accomplished the former king's will. Now that the two enemies are pacified and the four corners are quiet and peaceful, those who established merit on the battlefield have all been rewarded, and the dark souls who died fighting have been prayed for with netherworld offerings. However, those in prison have not received the grace of washing away their guilt, and the suffering of the Kangay and Lok has not yet received the favor of renewal. Thinking of this, my sleep and food are not at peace. Let there be an amnesty within the country. All those currently imprisoned who committed crimes deserving death or less, excluding the 5 rebellions, before dawn on the 21st day of the 2nd month of the 2nd year of Zongjiang, regardless of the severity of the crime, are all to be released. Those who committed crimes after the previous amnesty and were stripped of rank are all to be restored as before. For thieves, only release their bodies. Those who have no property to repay are not to be included in the collection limit. Among the people who are poor and borrowed grain from others, those in areas where the harvest failed need not repay both interest and principal. If in areas where the harvest was good, upon reaching this year's harvest, they are to return only the principal and need not return the interest. Let the relevant offices carry this out with the 30th of this month as the deadline. In summer, the 5th month, the people of the 3 commanderies of Cheonjong, Beolho, and Gangneon were starving, so the storehouses were opened to relieve them. Gopchan Gijinsan and others were sent to Tang to present 2 boxes of magnets. Also, Gakgan Humsu, En and Pajinchan Yangdo were sent to Tang to apologize. In winter, a Tang envoy arrived to convey an edict and returned with the crossbow master Sachin Gujinsen. He was ordered to make a wooden crossbow which shot 30 paces. The emperor asked, "I heard the crossbows made in your country shoot 1,000 paces. Why is it only 30 paces now?" He replied, "It is because the wood is not good. If wood is taken from my home country, it can be made." The Son of Heaven sent a messenger to seek it, so Daewangam was immediately sent to offer wood. It was ordered to be remade, and it shot to 60 paces. Asked the reason, he answered, "Your subject also does not know the reason. Perhaps the wood was invaded by moisture while crossing the sea." The Son of Heaven suspected he was intentionally not doing it and threatened him with a heavy penalty, but in the end, he did not fully reveal his ability. Horse pastures totaling 174 locations were distributed, 22 within the royal domain, 10 for the palace, 6 for Great Taegakan Yusin, 5 for Great Gakan Inmun, 3 each for 7 Gakan, 2 each for 5 Aiken, 2 each for 4 Sopan, 1 each for 6 Pajinchen, and 12 Daechen, and the remaining 74 were bestowed appropriately. Year 10670. In the first month of spring, the 10th year, Gaozong permitted Humsun, Kim Humsun, to return to his country. Yangdo, Kim Yangdo, was detained and imprisoned, and finally died in prison. Since the king arbitrarily took the land and leftover people of Baekje, the emperor was angry and reprimanded him, repeatedly detaining envoys. In the third month, Sachin Sol Oyu and Goguryeo great brother, Go Yunmu, each led 10,000 elite soldiers across the Yalu River and arrived at Okgol. Malgol soldiers arrived first and waited at Gaedonyang. On the 4th day of summer, the 4th month, they fought, and our soldiers won greatly, beheading and capturing countless numbers. As Tang soldiers continued to arrive, our soldiers retreated to defend Baelseong. In the 6th month, Goguryeo Surimseong native, great brother, Mojem gathered the remaining people, and from Gungmo Fortress reached south of the Pei River, killing Tang officials and the monk Fa-an. Heading for Silla, he arrived at Sayado in the West Sea, met Ansong, the son of Goguryeo minister Yon Jong-to, welcomed him into Hansong, and honored him as lord. He sent minor brother Dasik and others to report. Reviving a ruined country and continuing a severed line is the public righteousness of the world. We look only to the great country. Our country's former king lost the way and was destroyed. Now we subjects have obtained the country's noble clan member Ansong and honor him as lord. We wish to be a hedge, vassal, and be loyal forever. The king settled him at Gumajeo in the west of the country. A woman of Hanjibu gave birth to 3 boys and 1 girl at one time. She was given 200 sok of millet. In autumn, the 7th month, the king suspected the remaining multitude of Baekje would turn against him. So he sent Daechen Yudun to the Unjin Area Command to ask for peace, but they did not comply. He then sent Sima Yegan to spy. The king knew they were plotting against us, so he stopped Yegan's army and did not send them back, and raised troops to attack Baekje. Pumal, Munchung, Jungsan, Wigwon, Cheongwon, and others attacked and captured 63 fortresses and moved the people to the interior. Cheonjeon, Jukji, and others took 7 fortresses and cut off 2,000 heads. Gungwon and Munyong took 12 fortresses, struck the enemy soldiers, cut off 7,000 heads, and obtained very many war horses and weapons. The king returned. Jungsin, Wigwon, Dalgwon, Hongwon, and others retreated from the camp temple, so their crime deserved death, but they were pardoned and removed from office. Changgil, missing text, were each granted the rank of Gupchan and given unhulled rice differentially. Sachin Sumisan was sent to invest Ansong as king of Goguryeo. The Book of Investiture said, "In the first year of Xianheng, the year being Gyeongo, autumn 8th month, 1st day Sinchuk, the king of Silla sends a command to the heir of Goguryeo Ansong. Your public ancestor King Jungmo accumulated virtue on North Mountain and established merit in the South Sea. His majestic wind, shook Cheonggu, and benevolent teaching covered Hyeondo. Descendants succeeded one another. The main branch did not sever, opening land for 1,000 li for nearly 800 years. Reaching the brothers Namgyeon and Namsan, disaster arose within the walls and rifts formed between flesh and blood. The family and state were destroyed, the altars of soil and grain were obliterated, and the living people were scattered with nowhere to entrust their hearts. You avoided danger and difficulty in the mountains and fields, and threw your single body to a neighboring country. Your wandering and hardship are like Duke Wen of Jin, and reviving a ruined country is like the Marquis of Wei. Generally, the people cannot be without a master, and imperial heaven will surely have a caring command. The direct heir of the former king is only you. If you are not the one to preside over sacrifices, then who is? We respectfully send envoy Ilgil-chan Kim Sumi-san and others to invest you as king of Goguryeo. You should soothe and gather the remaining people. Continue and revive the old legacy. Be a neighbor country forever and serve like brothers. Be respectful. Be respectful. We also send 2,000 of non-glutinous rice, 1 armored horse, 5 bolts of patterned silk, 10 bolts each of silk and fine hemp cloth, and 15 ching of cotton. King, you should receive them. In the 12th month, Saturn entered the moon. There was an earthquake in the capital. Jigyong retired. The country of Wa changed its name to Japan, Nihon. They said of themselves that because they are close to where the sun rises, they named it so. Hansongju Commander Suse took text of Baekje. When the matter was revealed, Daechan Jinju was sent to cut off his head. One can measure the similarities and differences of the matter.